Hello, beach friends. People often tell me how lucky I am to do this for a living, to walk the beach, hunt for shells, and share these moments with you. And they're right. I truly love what I do. But lately, I've been stretching myself a little too thin. I've been creating content and working on some new credentials, and I overbooked myself, and I didn't leave much room to just breathe. On this particular day, I came to the beach to go shelling, but I realized pretty quickly that I was carrying a lot of stress with me. Instead of ignoring it and pushing through like I normally would, with a little bit of help, I stopped and really listened to what I needed. And while I did find some beautiful shells, like this gorgeous pointy olive, what I really treasured from today was something I didn't expect: how to listen to myself. I suspect that is a lesson we all could probably learn. Oh, look at that cute little Gulf oyster drill. So, as I go about beachcombing, I'll kind of let you know all the different things I got to learn today. Oh, a baby's ear. All right, that little bit of flashing, that's from the LED light in my camera not syncing up. But luckily, I can avoid that. Look at that. Super fun little baby's ear. Nice. So we have a shark eye on the bottom, and then there's a lightning whelk, and then we have an apple murex. And not to worry, we are going to find all sorts of fun things. I will show you anything that I slowed down and I think is kind of interesting, shiny, pointy. And we will see a couple of critters, including one I've never seen before. So if you're ready to see what else is out there for us today, let's go to the beach. Now, for those of you who recognize the South Marco little beach, that's where I am. I am in South Marco Beach Island, at a little sliver of beach, and I'm beachcombing at low tide. So here we have a Cinchera hunteria, or a banded tulip. This is very, very cool. That is an albino nutmeg. So I kind of go a little bit nutty over anything albino. Oh, that's super fun. I found them before, but still a very fun find. So, yep, there is this little tiny pocket area, and I'm down here at low tide. Yep, tide is super low. Although I'm like lame compared to some of the other people. I only woke up at 4:45. I was talking to some people who'd been out here since like midnight. So that is a little nutmeg, and there's also a little fighting conch there. So I was feeling lazy. I only got up at 4:45 and got down here. But luckily, the people that had been out here, they missed a couple things, or at least left a couple things. So this apple murex and that banded tulip, very nice. My favorite spot is right in the water, and look at that. It almost looks like a golden olive. Now, the golden olive is just a variation of this. This is a lettered olive. Why don't we take a look at a live golden olive? So this I found, I was just kind of on one of my walkabouts, was not making a video, and I found this golden olive, and it's alive. And I'm going to pick it up because I'm really curious to see the color of the animal. So that thing out in front, that shovel looking thing that's very active, that is its propodium. And that is what helps it kind of dig through the sand. And so this very, very active golden live olive was such a cool encounter. But I put that snail back to go about its business. That was on Fort Myers Beach a while ago. Here is a spiny jewel box. Now, the juveniles attach themselves and just kind of filter feed, and then they break off eventually. Looks like this juvenile attached itself to a transverse arc. Still really cool. I'm not gonna actually take that off. I think that's kind of cool. So we have a spiny jewel box still attached to a little transverse arc. All right, I was curious myself, what kind of sunrise are we gonna get? It's gonna be fine. It's not gonna be one of those fantastic, those spectacular sunsets. Yep, it's fine. Perfectly acceptable sunrise. And hopefully soon I can turn that headlamp on. or headlamp off rather. At least I remembered to bring it this time, so there's that. All right, we have a Florida cone. Probably got detention a couple of times. Those shells are normally really beat up, but that one's, okay, a somewhat well-behaved Florida cone. Oh, my second favorite seashell, yeah. The gaudy nautica, or the colorful moon snail. Oh, and a little dusky cone. Oh, there's that light kind of flashing. Oh, and then a Florida cone. Not surprising, yeah. Florida cone, a little bit more beat up. Oh, do like those gaudies, though. All right, here is just a regular moon snail or shark eye. Either one. Shark eyes, colorful moon snails are all under the moon snail family. Cool. Nice moon snail. All right, now the lightning whelk, you'll see these two are a little bit slightly different colored, and you might have also noticed that the opening was on the left. So that's one of the only seashells, unless you have a freak shell, which is awesome. Most of the shells are open on the right, like this nutmeg with its little twisties. Lovely. Yeah, this beach is a disaster. It is a mess, and that is the messier, the better. Oh, a little cantharus with a inhabitant. I think there might be a slipper shell on there too. So that little Hermie is going to stay here at the beach. I do have a strict empty shell collecting policy only, so I've returned the hermit crab, and we'll do a little switcheroo. Yeah, I have a hard time resisting some of those shells. Now, normally, I try to shell alone. It's just the way that I like to record my videos. But I'm not the only one that knows about this awesome little slice of beach. As a matter of fact, I ran into a woman who told me that there's a lady out there who puts out videos about finding seashells. Go figure. Anyway, while I do like to shell by myself, as luck would have it, I had a few wonderful interactions that morning with some beach friends and Patreons, and one of these interactions was with a woman named Karen. It's hard to put into words what Karen's little gift of kindness meant to me, but it allowed me to reevaluate everything I'd put on my plate, and I gave myself permission to make some adjustments in my life that were just a small shift, but it changed everything. So stay awesome, beach friends. Apparently, we're all in this together. And again, I suspect there's a couple of you that probably understand exactly what I'm talking about. All right, lightning whelk bubbles. Super fun. Yeah, what else? Giant Atlantic cockles. Don't normally see as much of that like debris litter on this beach. That's a little different. This is a 9-armed sea star. I assume it's fine. I am not going to dig it up. If it was just kind of like sitting on top of the sand, I might, flop it over and say hi. But you know what? I'm just going to leave that critter just well enough alone. Oh, here's some banded tulip egg casings. Now, the animals like to lay their eggs onto some sort of substrate. It's possible that shell was kind of half buried, and so the banded tulip said, hey, this seems like a great place to lay some eggs. And then that shell kind of got dislodged. Here on the left, we have a paper fig, and on the right, we have a pear whelk. And they do look somewhat similar. I think it's the tops and the fact they can kind of get to the same size. It kind of throws people off, but that paper fig on the left has much more of a texture on the shell. And then the pear whelk also has a little more of like channeling going on the top of the shell, not to be confused with the channeled whelk, because we don't really have those down here. Now this was really fun. So this is a crossbarred Venus clam, which I never pay attention to. All right, maybe once in a while. But it's so new, like freshly deceased. It's really pretty. So I do see the allure of these. I don't normally pick them up, but that's kind of fun. A really common shell that just happens to be kind of fun. All right, another colorful moon snail. Aperture I did see a little tiny bit chewed up, but because it's a colorful moon snail, we are going to make an exception. Gorgeous. So the true tulip is much harder to find than the banded tulip. They get much bigger. Their colors can be much more robust. Like that whole thing is orange. Beautiful little true tulip. All right, another moon snail. Delightful, yeah. And moon snails will drill holes, and that's probably where that particular shell right there got its hole from. Another Moon snail. Yeah, it is a shell eat or a snail eat snail world out there. Oh, this is so fun. This is the kind of beach. When I look at pictures of beaches, the first thing I do is kind of look at the sand. And if it's just flat and it's all sand, it doesn't really appeal to me. I like a beach that's just a mess. There's a short spine sea star. I know we call them starfish, but technically they're called sea stars. I'm going to leave it. Looks perfectly fine. No reason to harass it. Okay, I'm over by the dock now. If anyone's familiar with this area. Yeah. Uh-oh. What do we have here? We have a critter. Yeah, so that's an urchin. And urchins on purpose, like, decorate themselves. I think it's for camouflage. So this little urchin, I know, looks like some of those little pieces probably just got tangled, but they do like to disguise themselves. All right, little top snail. Actually, there was a ton of top snail. Yeah, fun. And these are jujube top snails. Almost exclusively only find them. There are other types of top snails you can find. I just don't typically find them. All right, there we have an apple murex with some little barnacle bling. If you happen to like barnacles. Oh, a limpet. A cayenne keyhole limpet. Awesome. That little fighting conch. Very common. Very awesome. Yep, there's two of them. Delightful. What else? So if I don't pick it up, I either saw it and chose not to. There's something wrong with it, or I just missed it. And both happens. All right. Bubble, little broken apple murex. And there will be shells. Like, I'll look back at the footage and I'll be like, why didn't I look at that? But at the time, you can't really tell that the shell was not in great shape. It's broken. And another thing I'd like to talk, I do pick up a lot of shells. I'm typically only showing you the ones that I choose to keep. Typically. Okay, another gaudy. Colorful. Yeah, let's wash that off. Let's see how glorious it is. All right, that's going to be like middle of the road glorious. It's fine. Probably not going to write mom a note about it, but it's still a lovely, lovely moon snail. Okay. Oh, look. I was going to say a pair of parwelks. A couple of parwelks. Yeah, and I know it's going to be a bleach day, so I'm like, yeah, it's fine. There's beach stuff on it. Yep, you'll probably just go in the bleach too. So bleach I wish there was something else that really worked as well as bleach, but it gets rid of periostracum. It really loosens any of the tough beach stuff that's kind of caked on. Oh, that one I would write a note about. The color goes all the way from the center out. Oh, that's pretty. Beautiful little colorful moon snail. I did see that apple murex, slipper snails. What do we got here? Oh, the rosy wolf snail. If you don't know what that silly snail did to Hawaii, take a look at it. They introduced that snail. That snail eats other snails. It's a land snail, and they were trying to control the African land snail, and it ended up destroying like the native population. So yeah, the rosy wolf snail, kind of a crazy story. That, I believe, is an Atlantic oyster drill. Now, I don't normally find those. I find other drills that look a lot like that. So that looks just a little different to me. I believe that is an Atlantic oyster drill. Oh, good. Another gaudy. That one's kind of fun. Coloring's a little different. Yeah, it almost looks like got little triangles all over it. If I could just spend the whole day picking up those colorful moon snails, that would be great. I would love that. Or lace murex. Lace murex also are kind of fun. This one's a little lacy. It's got some nice little detail on its little lace parts. Oh my gosh. And so here's a top snail. This is only the second time this has ever happened to me. There's a little hermit crab in there. So again, this is only the second time. Only once have I ever found a top snail with a hermit crab. I don't think it's the right shell for you, critter, so I'm going to leave you there, and good luck. There is plenty of empty shells here. So when you see the snails or the crabs walking around with garbage, they're not here in Florida. That is in Japan. That is not here. The snails here typically have plenty of choices. The tide was so low But even though the sun is up, it's still negative low tide. So I definitely picked a good day to come. And I'm not quite giving up yet. I know a lot of people have left, but I prefer to shell when the sun is up at low tide. So I guess this is kind of my jam right now. So 2 more top snails. Let's see. Another color. Nope, nope, that's just a regular moon snail with a little drill hole in it. Does it have 2 holes in it? No, it's just a discoloration. Okay, another top snail. I'll grab that. Is it 2? Yep. That's terrific. And a little Gulf oyster drill. Yep. Okay, pear whelk. Yeah, that's fine. This is a really good day for pear whelks. And top snails. Oh, I found the last time I was here, I got a couple pitted murex. It's interesting. You could come, that's a broken bubble, to the same beach, like, I don't know, 10 days in a row, and it'll just be 10 completely different experiences. Another little pear whelk. So I try not to go to the same beach over and over and over, but I do frequent the beaches that I think the shells are going to be at. A marginella. Well, those are fun. I normally only find those when I'm kind of looking for the smaller shells, like that small little pear whelk. That's adorable. Why are the small ones so cute? I guess small things are cute, right? Puppies, babies, little seashells. It's wonderful. All right, lace murex. Yeah, you have been hugged by the beach quite a few times. You've been rolling around in the dirt, but you're in luck because there is a little bleach spa party going on at my house a little later, so you can come home with me. Right, this one's pretty too. So yeah, nice and lacy. I have not been finding a lot of lace murex lately, so this is kind of exciting. And yeah, oh, you're nice and lacy. You're pretty. So another lovely lace murex. Another baby's ear. Woot woot. Now, I know they're not really uncommon. I like them. I am going to plan a trip. I want to go up to the Carolinas because my understanding is you can get yourself a whole bunch of baby's ears and Wentel traps. And so anybody that has any tips for me, by all means, I'm all ears. Leave any kind of tips you got for me in the description below. All right, another top snail, really kind of pretty one. And then we have a buttercup lucine. I just love that buttery yellowness. Or just yellow in general. It's one of the few yellow shells you can find. This is fantastic. So that is a rose murex, but it is the mottled variation of it. So they can be like a bright red, fire engine red color. That's a little more common, still fantastic. I would take that shell home. But that's a mottled. It has more like the apple murex coloring. Beautiful shell. That is awesome. Awesome. All right, and this crown conch doesn't have the nice spikes, but it's got nice saturation on that color. I kind of feel like you got to choose, so that's fine. That is a great little crown conch. All right, another lace murex. This one's been hugged a lot. Yep, a little softer. It's not quite as lacy as some of the other ones. Frankly, pretty green, but that's okay. It's gonna have that bleach party with the other shells. Another baby's ear. That one's in really good condition, except for the broken back. And that's okay, because when you hold it like that, it's fine. So another really great baby's ear. Oh, nice saturation on that pear whelk. All right, Atlantic semele. Now, when the shells are like that, I try to be careful because I'd like to see if it's dead, and I try to open it, but I'm careful because I don't actually want to injure the animal. So that was alive. But I get to keep this lovely pear whelk. All right, another moon snail. Yep, with a drill hole in it. Very nice. Yep, that is your regular old shark eye, not to be confused with your false shark eye. Ooh, another spiny jewel box that is also attached to a transverse arc. Yeah, I wonder if you and that other spiny jewel box are from the same neighborhood. Maybe you were neighbors. It was pear whelk day down at South Marco Beach. Oh, and another little lightning welk. And then you'll see the openings. Yep. One on the right, one on the left. And the banded tulip, the orange flavor of the banded tulip, I find them less often. I had read that and then I really never even noticed. And once I saw that, I'm like, yep, totally right. A little more rare. Gulf oyster drill. They have those brown kind of horizontal lines on the shell. That's the tell for me on these particular shells. Some of the other ones, it's just the way that the ribs kind of look. All right, little pear whelk. And then wait till I show you the cutest little, look at that calico clam. It's so cute. Adorable. Yeah, great day for tinies and pear whelks. A button snail. Aren't those cool? I like them when you can see all the little indentations and all the little delicate little nooks and crannies. Yep, that is real pretty. Oh, so that is a dark serif. And I suspect it's super dark because it's alive. It's alive. It has it probably, it's dark because of its periostracum. Yeah, we'll leave that critter. Leave that critter here. Here is another one of those crossbarred Venus clams. Again, really lovely. Don't usually pay them much attention. Oh, even the interior is pretty. Very nice. Very crossbarred Venus clam. Oh, yeah. I have a weakness for these guys. So I do like a little bit of purple on the inside. It does have nice spiky knobs. Oh, and a gaudy. My number 1 and number 2 favorite shells. Awesome. What a good day here at Marco. The weather's great. The shells are showing up. See, not orange. Well, it's orangish, right? But you know what? I think it's time for me to be quiet and let you all have a little beach time. Yep, that juvenile pelican did not seem to care that I was there at all. The adults, or at least the breeding adults, will have white heads. All right, there is a little spot over here. Let's see what I can find as far as tinies. There's a couple more pear whelks. All right, that is a nutmeg. With its little twisties, the columellar folds. Very fun. Yep, that's swell. Nice, some earth-toned seashells. Oh, check this out. So this is a ribbed cantharus. We're going to talk about the tinted cantharus in just a second, but look at that. Isn't that cool? So those like white horizontal stripes, a little unusual. The shells don't normally have that. And I just really like that shell anyway. That was really cool. Would you look at this little crab? Now, I couldn't ID it. To me, it looks a little bit like a little purse crab, or a spider crab rather. It's kind of got a pointy nose, so it kind of looks like a spider crab. So I started doing my research, and I'd already been on a walk. Some of these crabs will oh, look, an olive. Okay. Some of these crabs will literally put algae on their backs so that they can snack as they're going about their day. So it's almost like having a backpack full of like snacks, grapes and cheese and crackers and stuff, except the crab just kind of throws the stuff on its back. Isn't that fun? So don't know exactly what kind of crab that was. Had great decorating or disguise skills. Oh my goodness, that's beautiful. I would write a soliloquy about that. That is gorgeous. So a beautiful, colorful moon snail. Okay, here we go. So this is a tinted cantharus. Now the name cantharus actually comes from a sacred drinking cup used by Bacchus, the Roman god of wine. I knew I loved cantharus shells. So early shell collectors thought these shells reminded them of that ceremonial cup. Although, I'll be honest, I don't really see it myself, but I do love that even a simple shell like this ribbed cantharus carries a name rooted in ancient history. So I think that that's kind of fun. What is this bright? Yeah, it's going to be a horse conch. So the chestnut turbans will sometimes have this bright orange color. The ribbed cantharus will sometimes have this bright red color. So every now and some shells will be that exact kind of color. What? The seaweed is moving. Now, I did see about a crab like this on social media. I thought I saved it. For the life of me, I couldn't figure it out. Look, it's literally holding on somehow. That crab is holding on to that shell. So it's not just a mistake. It's using that. So it's not like a hermit crab. I mean, it probably has its own carapace. Check this out. It's a walking shell. That is crazy. I've never seen that. So I could not ID it. I believe, and it makes sense, that it's some sort of what they call a decorator crab. So I'm just going to kind of remove this little piece of seaweed. I don't think that that crab was going to snack on that. Would you look at that? So it's in a prickly cockle, in a Florida prickly cockle shell, and it's using it for protection, I guess, camouflage. That is fascinating. All right, little guy, we're going to put you back in the water. Let you do your little crabby thing. Whoop, whoop. Yeah, let's get you. There you go. Kind of situated. That was really cool. I've never seen one of those. That was kind of cool. Ah, I love seeing new stuff. Beautiful. That's not new. That is a calico scallop, but also lovely. Funny, though, because the slipper snail, I don't normally care for them. I do like sometimes the spiny ones or the spotted slipper snails. Okay, that's another one of those Atlantic similes and a jingle. And as this beach walk kind of winds up, I'm reminded that sometimes the most important thing we find out here isn't something that we can put in a shell bag. Today wasn't about the shells for me. It was about slowing down, paying attention, and giving myself permission to reset. So if you've gotten anything from this video, I hope it's this. Listen to yourself. Whether it's the beach, a quiet walk, or just a few moments of stillness, when you slow down, you can hear what you need, and I encourage you to honor it. Now, there wasn't really that much beach stuff. There was much garbage on the beach, and I didn't get to film picking up that orchid, but it didn't gauge. It didn't weigh enough, so it just is what it is. I picked up garbage, threw it away, and I'm not going to be able to add it to a total. But I did get some Florida prickly cockles, a sunray Venus clam, some of those Atlantic similes, some calico scallops, Florida cones, bubbles. There are slipper shells, jingles, a whole bunch of those parabolics, one auger, a paper fig, the abandoned tulips, which there's only really one of those orange ones I'd like to add. All right, we have one fossilized nutmeg, some nutmegs, a rough scallop, some crown conchs, marginella, calico clam, that limpet, the lettered olives, some of those crossbarred Venus clams, spiny jewel boxes. I did pick up a couple of those. The lace murex, the apple murex, some worm snails, the button snails. Those are Gulf oyster drills. We have buttercup lucines with horse conchs, the cantharus, tinted cantharus, that Atlantic Gulf drill, and I think those are mauve mouth drills. Then we have the shark eyes. There were some dusky cones of Florida fighting conchs. We have lightning whelks, all those top snails. I think I mentioned the worm snails, all the gaudy nauticas. And then my favorite today were the three baby's ears, the albino nutmeg, and then that one rose murex. So I did end up finding a lot of shells today, which was amazing. But even more importantly, I found something else. I found a way to take my stress level from about 11 down to about a 2, just by giving myself permission to slow down, prioritize what really matters, and let a few things go. So thank you to everyone who watches these little beach trips with me, especially my Patreons whose names you see on the screen right here. I truly love sharing my favorite place, and I hope you're all able to learn a thing or two along the way. Now, next week, we're headed to one of my favorite islands, Key Waden. So until then, I hope you have yourself a wonderful week, and I'll see you again next Sunday.